You've got women going under the needle, under the scalpel, under whatever, with perfectly fine faces and bodies and coming out looking botched because somebody didn't tell them the full truth before they handed over their money. Some of these procedures are turning women who are naturally pretty with symmetrical faces and features that work well together into people that look misshapen. Now, I'm not against cosmetic procedures. What I am against is the lack of honest conversation about what can actually go wrong. Nobody wants to say it. If you say it, you're a hater. If you've had work done and you say it, you're a hypocrite. So everybody stays quiet. The before and afters keep getting posted, and more women keep booking things they're going to spend years regretting. So let's actually talk about it. Let's start with lip filler. You go in there with a reference photo of someone's naturally full lips or a result that looks soft and proportionate, and you leave with something that doesn't move the same way your lips used to, sits differently on your face, and in a lot of cases looks nothing like the photo you brought. And sis, the filler doesn't always stay where it's placed. Over time, especially when you keep going back for more, it spreads above the lip border and creates what people call a filler mustache, which is that puffy, undefined area above the lip that no amount of lip liner is gonna fix. And the women dealing with this aren't women who went to some sketchy pop-up situation. Some of them went to licensed professionals, and it still happened. When you've been filling your lips for years and you stop, the skin has already been stretched and the tissue's been altered. What you're left with can look deflated in a way your natural lips never would have. And dissolving it isn't a clean fix either. Hyaluronidase can dissolve unevenly, causing swelling and bruising, and some women need multiple sessions before the filler is fully gone. Most lip filler lasts between 6 to 12 months, so you're basically signing up for a recurring expense to maintain a result that may keep drifting further from what you originally wanted. Now let's talk about cheek filler. Most of the women getting cheek filler are in their mid to late 20s with no real volume loss yet. They're adding volume to a face that didn't need it, and what they end up with is a face that looks heavy, puffy, and just off. That pillow face look you see on women, where the cheeks look bloated and the face has lost its shape, that's what happens when too much filler gets placed on a face structure that wasn't built for it, and it doesn't take decades to get there. Cheek filler also migrates downward over time. The product that was placed high on the cheekbone slowly shifts lower toward the nasolabial folds, which is the exact area most people are trying to get rid of. And low-key, the risk level with cheek filler is higher than most people realize. The mid-face has major blood vessels running through it, and if an injection hits one of those vessels, it causes vascular occlusion, where the blood supply to surrounding tissue gets cut off. In serious cases, that leads to tissue death, scarring, and in documented cases, blindness. And we're talking about licensed injectors in clinical settings, not back alley situations. Next up, jawline filler. Filler along the jawline adds mass. Done conservatively, it can sharpen the angle, but done even slightly too aggressively, it widens the lower face, makes the upper face look smaller, and throws off your whole facial balance. When it starts breaking down unevenly, and it does, the jawline looks irregular, lumpy in some spots, flat in others. The jaw area also has major arteries running close to the surface. The number of providers offering jawline filler has grown way faster than the training required to do it safely, and you're the one who ends up dealing with the consequences. Let's talk about preventative Botox. The pitch is that if you start Botox in your mid-20s before lines even form, you prevent the muscle movement that causes wrinkles. And muscles that keep getting frozen weaken over time. Women who started at 24 or 25 and kept getting it into their 30s are finding that the muscles around their forehead and eyes just behave differently now. Some have asymmetry that wasn't there before. Some have a heaviness in the brow area. Some are finding that the areas around the treated muscles are developing lines faster because when one group of muscles stop moving, the surrounding ones overcompensate. And Botox used too early and too frequently produces a face that looks smooth but unnaturally frozen. And when it wears off in a face that's been treated consistently for years, the muscles come back online, but the skin above them has been aging the whole time. Women who stop feel like they've aged overnight because they're finally seeing what's happening underneath while the surface was frozen, and that sends a lot of them straight back to the injector. Starting Botox at 24 to prevent wrinkles you don't even have yet is a cycle that gets harder to get out of the longer you're in it. And then there's veneers. Traditional veneers require shaving down the enamel on your natural teeth to make room for the porcelain shell. And enamel doesn't grow back. Your teeth are permanently altered and completely dependent on those veneers to protect them. If a veneer chips, cracks, or falls off, the tooth underneath is exposed. Women who got veneers on perfectly healthy teeth in their 20s are now in their 30s dealing with sensitivity, replacement costs, and the reality that they're locked into maintaining veneers for the rest of their lives. Each set lasts roughly 10 to 20 years, and each replacement means removing even more tooth structure. And a lot of people got sold on this when their teeth were completely fine. They just wanted them wider or straighter. Composite bonding and no prep veneers are options that preserve way more of your natural tooth, and they're worth asking about before anyone touches your enamel. And by the way, another option is just getting braces and then getting your teeth whitened. You can also do gum contouring, which will help get you that look that your teeth are bigger and the gums have a nice shape. Moving on to BBLs. The BBL takes fat from one part of your body through liposuction, processes it, and injects it into your butt. For a stretch of time, this procedure had one of the highest mortality rates of any elective cosmetic surgery out there. The risk is that the fat injected too deeply can enter the blood vessels in the glutes and travel to the lungs, causing a fat embolism. Surgical techniques have gotten better, but the risk is still there. Between 30 and 50% of the transfer fat gets reabsorbed by the body in the months after surgery. So the final result is smaller than what you see in those early recovery photos. And weight changes after the procedure affect the transfer fat differently than the surrounding tissue, which can make things look uneven over time. You also can't sit directly on your butt for several weeks after surgery. Women who went back to physically demanding jobs too early compromised the results, and women who didn't follow post-op care ended up with asymmetry and uneven fat survival. Next up, liposuction. Lipo removes the layer of fat just beneath the skin. On women with less skin elasticity, anyone who's had major weight changes, been pregnant, or is older, the skin can end up looking loose, uneven, or rippled after that fat layer gets removed. And it only removes that surface layer of fat. The deeper fat sitting around your organs stays exactly where it is. Women who had abdominal lipo expecting a flat stomach found out afterward that the deeper fat was completely untouched. When fat gets removed unevenly, the surface of the skin looks lumpy or indented. Fixing that means going back in for another procedure. And if you gain weight after lipo, the fat doesn't go back to where it came from. It redistributes to other areas of your body, which again can contribute to the lumpiness and that misproportion look. Let's talk about breast implants. The FDA recommends getting imaging done every 2 to 3 years to check for silent rupture, which is when an implant ruptures with no obvious symptoms but is releasing silicone into the surrounding tissue. Most women find this out years after their surgery. Women with implants have reported a whole cluster of symptoms, including fatigue, brain fog, joint pain, hair loss, and autoimmune type responses that either got better or went away completely after having them removed. The number of women reporting the exact same combination of things is too consistent to write off. Capsular contracture, where the scar tissue around the implant hardens and squeezes it, causes pain, distortion of the implant shape, and requires surgical correction, and it can happen more than once. Women who are now in their 30s and 40s and thinking about having their implants removed are finding that their breasts afterward look different from how they would have looked if they'd never gotten the surgery. The tissue and the chest don't look the way they would have if they just left it alone. Now let's talk about aggressive chemical peels. Darker skin tones are way more prone to post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. An aggressive peel causes inflammation. That's literally how it works. And that inflammation triggers melanin overproduction during the healing process. The skin ends up darker in the treated areas than it was before the procedure. And that happens because whoever did the peel used the wrong strength for that skin type and didn't have the right aftercare in place. A lot of providers doing peels on deeper skin tones genuinely have no business doing peels on deeper skin tones. Scarring is also a real risk when the healing process gets disrupted by sun exposure or the wrong products during recovery. And the recovery from a medium to deep peel is nothing like the gentle flaking you see in skincare content. The skin crusts, weeps, and sheds. It's raw and sensitive for days to weeks, and sun exposure during that window is causing serious damage to skin that has no barrier left. Moving on to laser treatments. On darker skin, the laser can't always tell the difference between the pigment it's targeting and the melanin in the surrounding skin. When the energy hits the wrong tissue, it causes burns, blistering, and hyperpigmentation that can be permanent. There are specific laser types like ND-YAG that are generally considered safer for deeper skin tones. A provider who knows what they're doing is picking their equipment and their settings based on your specific skin. But in a lot of states, laser treatments can be done by someone who took a weekend course. So ask them specifically what experience they have with your skin tone, what laser they're using and why, and what their plan is if something goes wrong. If those questions make them uncomfortable, you have your answer. And then there are skin lightening products and bleaching creams. Mercury is banned in cosmetics in the US, but is still showing up in products coming in from other countries and being sold informally. Mercury absorbs through your skin, builds up in your body, and causes neurological and kidney damage. Hydroquinone at high concentrations used over a long period is linked to ochronosis, which is a darkening and thickening of the skin in the treated areas that's really hard to reverse. Long-term use of topical corticosteroids for lightening thins your skin, breaks down your skin's natural barrier, and causes stretch marks. And when you stop using them, your skin is thinner and more vulnerable than it was when you started. The products being sold openly on social media and in beauty supply stores aren't all regulated, and the before and afters they use to sell them aren't showing you what those women's skin look like 2 years down the line. Let's get into over-exfoliation and what it does to your skin barrier. Your skin barrier is basically a protective layer that keeps moisture in and irritants out. Over exfoliating, whether that's using physical scrubs too often, layering too many acids, using retinoids at too high a percentage too fast, or mixing actives that don't belong together, breaks that barrier down. And when your barrier is compromised, you'll notice persistent redness, sensitivity to products that used to work just fine, new breakouts in areas that didn't break out before, tightness, flaking, and a dull or uneven texture. Your skin starts reacting to basically everything, including your basic moisturizer and sunscreen. Repairing it means stripping your routine all the way back. No actives, no fragrance, nothing harsh, and waiting months for it to recover. Most women are scared to do that because of what their skin looks like without everything they've been using, but that's the only way it actually heals. That 10-step routine with multiple acids and daily exfoliation you see influencers doing is content. Following it without understanding your own skin's tolerance is exactly how the damage happens in the first place. Everything that gets posted online is the version that sells appointments and products. Providers aren't posting their complications, influencers aren't posting their regrets, the before and after accounts aren't showing you the third procedure someone needed in order to fix what went wrong in the first one. Before you book anything, research the specific person doing your procedure, their training, their actual experience with your skin tone and body type, and what they do when something goes wrong. A provider who gets vague or defensive when you ask about risks is already telling you something. Real Self is a good resource if you're trying to find board certified surgeons, and read real patient reviews before you commit to anything. I personally use Real Self and I can vouch for it. I'm very pleased with how they present the information and how everything is organized. So that's a really good source. At the end of the day, the original purpose of plastic surgery was to restore people who had been through something: accidents, medical conditions, things that actually changed their bodies against their will. It was never designed for women who were already fine. And be real with yourself about whether what you're trying to fix actually needs fixing. If you're new here, hey, I'm Nisi York. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok as Nutrition Nisi. My channel covers beauty, nutrition, and lifestyle topics. Drop a comment and let me know your thoughts on plastic surgery and cosmetic procedures. I want to hear your experience. And if you got something out of this, share it, like it, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Take care.